There is a lot of useless advice out there that just doesn't work. However, this does. Get ahead of your opposition. It really does work, so give it a try by checking out the link in the description below.
The question, is it okay to have a 2-page cover letter? Answer by Diane Mendez. Cover letters are an important part of the job application process. You should almost always send a cover letter with a job application unless the hiring manager specifically asks you not to. Try this free cover letter video for the serious job seeker. However, one thing that is less clear is how long your cover letter should be. If it is way too short, employers might think you do not care much about the job. If it is too long, employers might not take the time to read your letter, and will not consider you for an interview. The majority of employers require cover letters. A Saddleback College Resume survey reports that more than half, 53%, of employers responded that a cover letter is required, while nearly 30% had no preference. Even when a cover letter isn't required, it can boost your chances of getting hired if you include a cover letter when you apply for a job. You want to choose a font that is legible, such as Arial, Calibri, Verdana, or Times New Roman, in a readable font size, typically about 12 point. You also want to leave space between paragraphs, as well as between your salutation and the text, and between your text and the signature, so that your letter is easy to read. A good rule of thumb is that you always want a good amount of white space on the paper. This will prevent your letter from looking too cluttered and difficult to read. You might want to hand a printed out version of your cover letter to a friend or family member, and ask them if the letter seems too wordy, or too difficult to read. The rest of the message is typically skimmed. 2 paragraphs, one that serves as an introduction, and one that explains your qualification for the job, and then a closing is sufficient. Answer by Lorraine Beeman. Most employers want read a 2-page cover letter. Determine the 3 most important reasons an employer should hire you and build your cover letter around those points. It is better to have a short, powerful cover letter that grabs an employer attention than a lengthy in-depth discussion of your work history. Answer by Fiona McKay-Young. My question for you would be, why would you need a 2-page cover letter? The cover letter is just an introduction to the resume, and so is always short. 1 page with lots of white space left is the ideal cover letter. If you have more to say, it belongs in your resume, which should only be 2 pages long. This is not your life story. It is merely you representing the skills and experience you have for one specific job. The goal of the cover letter and resume is to get you an interview, not a job. In the interview you then get the chance to add all the important info you didn't put in your cover letter and resume. It's the interview that gets you the job, so keep your cover letter to 1 page and your resume to 2, because no one is going to read any more than that.